Great. Hi, Pradeepa, and thank you again for having that wonderful session with us. Policyl honestly loved having you that day, and honestly, I think every one of us there were highly inspired when we got out of the room that night. And yes, so I had a couple of questions that I wanted to ask you, and one main thing that stuck to me a lot was when we spoke about obligation, right?
Mm.
So I feel that when we talk about obligation, it comes with a lot of responsibility. It plays like a bigger, significant role when we, in the sense of obligation, right? So when we talk about not being obliged to do something, how do we reconcile this whole fact of responsibility being tied to it? I
Love,
think one major example that we can talk about is how we're responsible to take care of our family, and it's kind of you're obliged to do that when you're tied as their child, right? So, how do you deal with that?
love that question, Gautami. It is such a beautiful question and a very thoughtful question. And how you are connecting it to our daily lives, right? Like, how we tend to consider obligation as a way to approach our responsibilities. Uh,
Correct.
One of the ways that I have come to, a perspective that I wanted to share here, right, is obligation comes from the place of, I really don't want to do that, yet I've been forced to do that. So,
Correct.
you know, the way that I have started looking at obligation, which was an insight from my own growth and development, is obligation is sin, right? The word sin may be stronger for some people, but it resonated so much with me when I started looking at where all in my life I am feeling obligated to do something. And when I come from the place of obligation, it means I'm not completely in it and I'm doing it only for the sake of others. I'm really, I may be half into it or not into it. And when
Correct.
we come
Correct.
from that place, right, how we show up is going to be very subpar, right? When we come
Hmm.
from the place of obligation, our heart and soul is not completely in it because we are technically doing it only because somebody is asking us to do. I really don't want to do it, right? But when you come from that place, we are not going to be completely in it, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
The way that we are going to show up, our energy, our the time that we wanted to give, even our presence. You remember the listening that we talked about, right? Like how we listen to them, all of them are going to struggle, right? It's because we feel obligated. And the way that I started thinking about it is, if I don't want it to feel obligated, then how do I go about it, right? So the way that I
Hmm.
started looking at it is, okay, there are responsibilities. Can I commit to them? How can I commit to this, right?
Correct.
When I come from the place of commitment, which in my opinion, this is just my opinion, is a very different way to come from. Instead of the place of obligation, I'm committed more, right? Like I'm coming with the energy that like, hey, I absolutely wanted to help this person, right?
Right.
I absolutely wanted to be for this person. And I'm really
Hmm.
willing to take the responsibilities, whatever that is coming with this, with this interaction.
Correct.
And when
Correct.
we come from that place of commitment, I am not half into it. I'm completely into it because I am choosing to commit to it. Right?
Yep.
And when I come from that place of commitment, my energy is different. The way that I wanted to approach this problem or this interaction is going to be different. And the way that I'm going to be present with this person is going to be very different. The way that I'm going to be listening to them, right? Like is going to be amazing. So it is a way of us how we wanted to show up, who we are being, right? So to answer your question, wherever you feel obligated and you think that, oh my God, there are responsibilities that comes with this obligation, or I feel obliged to do certain things, my request to you is can you look at it from the place of commitment? What can you commit to? And how will you show up when you come from the place of commitment?